Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third week of our virtual membership summit series. Thank you for joining us today. As we've talked about the past couple of weeks, each one of these sessions builds on the previous session. We will have the fourth session next week, 5 p.m. on Monday, noon on Wednesday, with a bonus week to follow. And again, each week builds on each week, but if you miss it, we have recorded the sessions and you will be able to see a recorded version. Also, please remember that these strategies that we're talking about during the membership summit are strategies to implement now. We cannot outwait COVID in terms of recruiting and trying to retain our members. We cannot plan on COVID being gone in October or December or even January. So all of these strategies are strategies that are compatible with our virtual or hybrid world that many of us are still in. And all of them are strategies we need to look at implementing, if not this week, next week, instead of waiting another couple months to see if COVID has decided to leave. So I'm proud to introduce our three presenters today. Terry Weaver, known to all of you. Terry is our district trainer, a past district governor. We also have, again, Patrick Eates, who is our Zone 33 Rotary Coordinator. Patrick is over all membership in the Zone 33, and he is from Greensboro, North Carolina. And our very special guest today, Sandy Olson from the Forest Acres Rotary Club. Sandy Olson is the expert on Discover Rotary. And as you heard last week, what is the #1 intentional membership strategy? Discover Rotary. So with this, I will turn it over to Terry, and thank you again for joining us. Appreciate your attention to this.
Thanks, Beth. And good to see everybody today. I'm starting today with a couple of assumptions. First, that you have your one-page club membership plan in hand, perhaps the version that was completed by your club president as a part of the planning guide, or a blank sheet that you can work from today. And you'll have that either adjusted, touched up, and edited, or complete within the hour. I'm also assuming that you've reviewed the Intentional Membership Strategies video that we saw last week from Patrick, and that you have this list of intentional strategies on hand, because those will be the core ideas that go into your membership plan. And I'm assuming you also remember the #1 return on investment strategy, which is this idea of Discover Rotary. Now, the question has been raised and is worth answering. Can you do Discover Rotary virtually? We, of course, invented Discover Rotary once upon a time around a conference table with people meeting in person. Usually, the case of our club, it's worked best to do it an hour before the meeting. And that's the way we're still doing it virtually. We still have 2 Discover Rotaries a month. We do them at 11 o'clock on the 4th Tuesday, just like we did before. We do them at 5:30 on the 3rd Tuesday, just like we do before, but we do them on Zoom. I did this last evening, had 2 prospects, and I'm sure I'll get one of those to join Greenville Rotary as a member. Now, I've heard clubs saying, we'll get back to that when we're meeting in person, maybe in December. Folks, that is not a good plan. First of all, we don't know that December is going to be any different than August, but one of the things we do know is it will be 4 months later, and you will have missed 4 months of opportunity to be attracting new members to your club. So I'm encouraging you to get in this game. In fact, it is easier to stage a virtual Discover Rotary than one in person. You don't need a room. All we serve is ice water. You don't need water pitchers. You don't need cookies. You don't need any of that stuff. You can basically do it online. So let's talk about the main points of what a Rotary Information Hour or Discover Rotary is about. First, you want to plan these out. Now, in the case of my club, we've been doing these for 17 years, and for the past 3 or 4 years, we've scheduled them regularly. Every 4th Tuesday at 11, every 3rd Tuesday at 5:30 for the past couple of years. We set those up in DACDB as online registration. And the reason you want to do that, folks, is because those then appear on your website calendar or on your Facebook calendar if you have those links in place. both of these members that or these prospects that were in Discover Rotary for me last night registered themselves online without the member doing it, which was our initial intent. You want to allow for some time for introductions, which will be part of our demo today. And then, of course, we do a short overview of Rotary. You have some collateral. We used to hand out club brochures as people came in the door. Today, I email our club brochure to the prospects along with their reminder email that we send to them a day or two in advance. So that's part of what's already happened. We're going to do a demo Discover Rotary event, a virtual Discover Rotary event for you today, so you can see in person how this looks and feels, and frankly, how easy it is to do. So we set the Discover Rotary events up for online registration. We promoted it to our members as the preferred way to introduce members to Rotary. And I want to point out, this changes the ask completely. You see, I'm not asking members of Greenville Rotary to bring us a buttoned up, tied with a bow, completed new member proposal, but they carried the whole thing themselves. They found the prospect, they told them the Rotary story, they maybe brought them to a meeting or two, and then persuaded them that it was time for them to join. I'm not asking for any of that. All I'm asking is that our members bring us a qualified prospect, somebody, a friend, neighbor, business associate, somebody that they know that would be a good member. And as our past president, Bert Strange, says, there are a lot of people out there who are Rotarians, they just don't know it yet. Then we send memory joggers and remind members where to look for prospects. We talked about those as some of the intentional strategies. The prospects have been invited. They've been confirmed by email. They've been entered in DACDB as potential members. That way we can send them a P-mail a day or two before, which we always do. And of course, we send a reminder to the sponsors as well. Now, likewise, we use that same data to send them a follow-up email after we get finished. So today, what we have is a special guest, a guest artist, Sandy Olson. She is the Discover Rotary Evangelist for our sister district, 7770. That's the other half of South Carolina. And a little bit about Sandy. Following some service in the Air Force, she has had a 30-year career in retirement living marketing. Now, I've said many times that Rotary has brought me a lot of business. Somebody in the retirement living marketing business obviously found a target-rich environment when she joined a Rotary Club. So her accomplishments were rewarded by being named Rotarian of the Year for all of District 7770. There are 3,600 members in that district. She was #1 in 1920. She and her husband, Dan, have an adult son who's a mechanical engineer in Columbia. And we'll welcome Sandy Olson along with the Discover Rotary Players. We have 2 members posing as members of Sandy's club today. Those are Patrick Eakes, who's been our own 2 times past District Governor Carol Burdett. Then we also have a couple members who are playing the prospects. These are not Rotarians yet. They're new to Rotary, but they've been brought by these sponsors as the members, as the potential members. And those are District Governor-elect Frank Cox and also Renee Stubbs, who's a past assistant governor of our district from the Newberry Club. And she's also the district RILA chair. So please welcome Sandy and the Discover Rotary Players.
Well, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to Discover Rotary. Let's begin by having everyone who's here today do a brief 30-second introduction to include your name, vocation, and for the club members with us today, tell us what attracted you to Rotary and what's kept you coming back. And then for our potential members who are visiting today, tell us what sparked your interest in Rotary. I'll kick it off. I'm Sandy Olson, and I'm with the Rotary Club of Forest Acres. I am enjoying an encore career. I retired not long ago, but I'm right back in there with an encore career of teaching classes in lifelong learning. And I also have made it a special project to mentor and to train Rotarians when it comes to Discover Rotary. Now let's move to our club members today, and we'll start off with Patrick Eads. Patrick?
Thank you, Sandy. I'm Patrick Eakes. I am really pleased to be a member of this club. I first joined in 1998. I'm an engineer by education and operate a small custom metal manufacturing business. And I first came to this club because I had a real interest in serving our community, and I thought it might be a good outlet for me to do that. That's proven to be the case, but I will tell you that the bigger value piece for me now in this club is the network of friends and professional associates I've made, and particularly their impact on my family, beyond just me as a Rotarian. It's been a particularly wonderful thing in our lives.
Thank you, Patrick. Let's move to our next club member, Carol Burdett. Carol?
Well, good afternoon. I am so pleased to be a member of Rotary. I joined in 1994, and I was a young professional, and I was so enamored with the people that were in Rotary, and I wanted to join them. But what has kept me in Rotary has been the opportunity, like Patrick, to meet so many people and to have them become very important friends to me, and over the years to just continue to develop that relationship. I always say that Rotary helped me land the job of my life as the United Way Director, and I can't even begin to imagine life without Rotary. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Now for our prospects who are here today for the first time, let's get to know Frank Cox. Frank?
Thank you, Sandy, and I really do appreciate the invitation to participate in this program to learn a little bit about Rotary. And I think what's caught my eye is everywhere I go, I see Carol Burdett involved in serving people, and all around my town, I see Rotarians out doing things. One of the clubs has a garden, and they must have 20 or 30 Rotarians in that garden, and all that food is going to the food bank. And I just can't imagine a town that has this kind of volunteers who are working so hard. I'd sure want to be part of it.
Very good. Thank you, Frank. And now we'll move to our other visitor today, Renee Stubbs. Renee?
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me to visit your club today. I have just moved back to town after living away for 30 years, and I am a retired public school educator, and I am currently employed at Newberry College, so I'm looking forward to getting back involved in the community. My family has been involved in Rotary all of my life, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how our club, our community club, serves the Newberry community and getting involved.
Very good, Renee. Well, welcome to everyone. And you can see we have a great group with us today. So we will just jump right into our presentation. Well, a good place to start is, what is Rotary? We are a membership organization that does service. We are a global network of business and professional leaders. We do humanitarian service. We encourage high ethical standards. We strive for goodwill and peace in the world. There are 1.2 million of us in 35,000 clubs in over 200 countries around the world. And our motto is service above self. Rotarians are people of action, and we are guided by a strong vision. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Put simply, Rotary is where neighbors, friends, and problem solvers share ideas and take action to create lasting change. It can be a life-changing experience because of the extraordinary people you will meet in Rotary. Rotarians will be people who will be willing to mentor you and be role models for you. They will help you build your business network. There is a great history in how Rotary got started. Paul Harris was an attorney in Chicago, and he gathered together some friends in 1905. And the purpose for getting together was fellowship, and it grew from there. Their meetings rotated around from each other's office, and so that is how Rotary got its name. The first National Rotary Convention was held in Chicago in 1910. You can see how the Rotary logo and the Rotary wheel have evolved over the years. The four-way test is used by Rotarians worldwide as a moral code for personal and business relationships. It was developed by Herbert J. Taylor in 1932 to save the aluminum products distribution company from bankruptcy. And then it was later adopted by Rotary International. Now, Rotarians, always known for their sense of humor, have added a fifth question to the four-way test, and that is it fun? Because most of us, whether we're working on projects or fundraisers, we like to have fun, no matter what we're doing. And you know, I did not realize that there was a song about the four-way test, but there it is, right there on the screen. And so I can tell you that if we had time today, we would have Patrick Eakes sing that song for us. But since we're short of time, we'll not put Patrick on the spot today. The object of Rotary is four principles developed over the years to provide Rotarians with a strong common purpose and direction. They serve as a foundation for our relation for lunch and a club meeting. And we received a very high compliment recently when a person that is close to the Rotary Club, our Rotary Club, but not a member of it, one of our district leaders, said that the Forest Acres Club is one of the most vibrant clubs in all of District 7770. Our community service projects include Happy Feet, Backpack, Ready to Read, A Mother's Voice, and Books for Birthdays. Our annual fundraisers are the Forest Acres Festival, which I just mentioned, and also managing a parking lot near the University of South Carolina football stadium, where people park their cars and tailgate during home football games. One of our most rewarding projects, really it tugs your heart, is providing recordable children's books to incarcerated women at a local prison in Colombia. They record their voice reading the book, and then the book is sent home to their children so that the children can hear their mother's voice reading a book to them. Rise Against Hunger was a new project for us this year. We joined with our Interact Club at Richland Northeast High School on a Saturday in December to pack nearly 14,000 meals to help feed hungry people around the world. As I mentioned, we manage the Palmetto Citizens Credit Union near the USC football stadium during home games. This provides a safe area supervised by Rotarians 2 hours before the game, during the game, and 2 hours afterwards, so that people can safely park and tailgate for games. This is a real fundraiser for us because we sell seasonal passes for all 7 or 8 home games, and there are 53 parking spaces in that parking lot, and they sell out every year. Rotarians believe in developing the next generation of leaders. Our programs help young people build leadership skills, expand education, and learn the value of service. Young people may join Interact clubs. That's for people who are youth who are ages 12 to 18. And with the recent changes in Rotaract, you can join a Rotaract club at age 18 all the way up to 80. There are a number of grants and scholarships available with things like the Youth Exchange Program to peace fellowships. Forest Acres is now recognized as a medium-sized club in the district. For a long time, we were a small club, but thanks to Discover Rotary, we've had so many people join that we've become a medium-sized club. But we are known for having fun, and we have great meetings and great speakers. And while we work very hard on our projects and fundraisers, we also know how to have fun. From the Blues Brothers and Sisters with District Governor Bernie Rydell, who has been a great mentor and role model for me, to things like hula hoop contests and a chorus line. The chorus line was all about recording us singing an encouraging song to club members who had to be in the hospital for an extended period of time. And so that really meant a lot to them to get that. There are many good reasons to join Rotary. Lifelong friends, making the community a better place, being part of something larger than yourself, networking, leadership, and personal growth, just a few of the reasons why millions of people have joined Rotary over the past 115 years. Yes, Rotary celebrated its 115th anniversary just this past February. There is a process that we follow for joining a club. Membership is by invitation from a Rotarian. You submit a completed membership proposal form and pay an initiation fee. The board of directors approves the application. You are inducted into the club and assigned a new member mentor. That's a person who will help you get settled into the club, meet club members, get involved in activities. You will attend a new member orientation and training program. But more important than any of this, you become quickly involved in club activities and events. And you consider a leadership position some point along the way in your years in Rotary. Yes, we do expect club members to step up and be a club leader when the time is right. The cost for being a member at Forest Acres Rotary Club is $175 quarterly. This covers the cost of Rotary International District and club dues, as well as a subscription to the Rotarian magazine. It also includes all meals costs. Now you'll notice I have a copy of the Rotarian here and on the screen. And the reason I chose this one as an example is it has our very own Dr. Ann Matthews, who was the first female Rotary International Vice President from right here at home in South Carolina. We're very, very proud of Ann. Well, to bring our Discover Rotary program to an end today, I'd like to leave you with a couple of good quotes. First, from Eugene Newsom, who was a member of the Durham, North Carolina Rotary Club, and who offers wise words to answer the question, why join Rotary? He said this: if the basis of enterprise of your profession or business is solely that of personal gain or private profit, then you do not and cannot subscribe to Rotary's ideal. But if you are ready to share your time and your talents and your resources, and you want to make a difference in the world, then you are at the right place, and this is the right club for you. And also from Paul Harris, we started with Paul Harris, we'll end with Paul Harris. If you have the love of your fellow men, my friend, you are a potential Rotarian. And so that brings us to the end of our formal portion of our Discover Rotary presentation this afternoon. We realize that we have gone over a lot of information about Rotary today, so let's take a few moments to answer any questions that you might have. Is there anything about Rotary that resonated with you today or that might have caught you by surprise?
Well, Sandy, thank you. That was a terrific presentation. My gosh, had no idea. What are some of the leadership opportunities in the club? Obviously, there's a president, and there's got to be something to do with membership. You got to have somebody out there working members. What are some of the opportunities in the club for a person to become a leader?
Absolutely. There are so many leadership opportunities. Truly, I think that's one of the strengths of Rotary. There are any variety of committees in a club. There are other officer positions in the club, from secretary to treasurer. You mentioned membership chair. There are fundraisers. There are projects to be done. So a person can serve at any level, really, in the club and get tremendous leadership training that will help not only in their personal lives, but also in their business lives.
Well, do you, in addition to having your club meetings, are there other opportunities to get together for fellowship that you have, well, I'm sure you have service projects and things like that, but do you have other social opportunities?
Oh, absolutely. Let's go back and remember that Paul Harris started Rotary with fellowship. And so fellowship remains an important aspect of Rotary today. So for one example, in our Forest Acres Club, as I mentioned, we meet on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, but there are some months that have 5 Wednesdays in a month. So when one of those months come up, it's called the 5th Wednesday Fellowship and Social. And we get together at a different time. Rather than 1 o'clock, we get together around 5 or 5:30. And it's just relaxed time, social time. It's a good time to bring guests, spouse, friends. It's also a good time to bring potential prospects. And so, yeah, we have a great time at Forest Acres. We really do.
Well, thank you.
Hi, Sandy. I have a question. What happens if I have to miss a meeting? Is there something I need to do about that?
One of the greatest concerns that we hear from potential members is that they hear that that attendance is required, and if you have to make every meeting, and if you don't, you have to make it up. And so that's truly not the case anymore. Our membership requirements have relaxed considerably. And so while we encourage people to make as many meetings as they possibly can, we know that people have busy lives and they have commitments, and that's hard to do week after week after week. And so, yes, there are opportunities that you can make up. Goodness gracious, there's online opportunities. You can visit with other clubs, which really is great for networking, because you get a chance to meet a whole bunch of new Rotarians. And there are special projects that if you attend the project, it will count for your club meeting. So we're not that strict on attendance any longer, but yet there are plenty of opportunities to make up a meeting.
And I have one more question. I know you stated a slide with the dues and the $175 financial obligation. Are there any other financial obligations that would happen with the club?
Generally speaking, with the Forest Acres Club, no. Having said that, there are times when we have projects that come up that will require some extra support from time to time. But generally speaking, our dues stay right at about $175 per quarter. Of course, every Rotarian is encouraged to support the Rotary Foundation and to support the CART fund. And so there are plenty of opportunities to give. And we encourage Rotarians to support the foundation. Absolutely.
And you just used the word CART. I'm not familiar with that. What would that be?
That's Coins for Alzheimer's Trust Fund.
Oh,
That money goes to research and development on trying to determine a cure for Alzheimer's disease.
oh, very interesting. A cause near and dear to my heart. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So at this point, if I were doing a Discover Rotary myself, which is a regular event, what I would do is I would offer to those attending, this may or may not be the right time for you. This may or may not be something for you, but if it is, then we're here. And what I'll do as a follow-up email, I'll attach a copy of our new member proposal form. If this is the right time for you to do something about Greenville Rotary, or in this case, Forest Acres, then you would want to complete that, get it back to me or to your sponsor, the person you know in the club, and we take it from there. Take it to our board in next month's meeting for consideration, and assuming that that's approved, then we go through a short advertising period. We send you a billing for the first quarter of your membership dues, and then once you pay that, you become a member, and we introduce you to the club. So that kind of wraps up our Discover Rotary presentation. We do have a couple of minutes for questions about that, but we do need to move on to another section. Anybody have a question about Discover Rotary or what you saw today? And if that's the case, just press your space bar and let us know what your question is. Anybody?
Terry John Kimball. How do you set up DAC-DB for the outside party to register?
John, there is in the setup of a DAC-DB membership event, on the options tab in the setup of the event, there are several URLs. There are links that you can post publicly, either on a Facebook page or a web page. And that link is not unique like a registration link would be in an email. It's not unique to that person, obviously, but it is unique to that event. So when somebody clicks that link, they pop into basically identify yourself sort of screen, like any online shopping. We ask them for their name, their email address, and their mobile phone number. That's all. And then they go right into the registration, just like you would as a member. Good question. Thank you.
And then you put them into potential member in your DAC-DB.
As soon as we see them in the back room for the event, then we harvest that. And actually, if they come in that way, they come in as a guest member, and then you can move them into your club as a potential member.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Terry, this is Bart Street. Is there a script for Discover Rotary?
As far as a written script is concerned, I don't have one. I believe Sandy perhaps does and would share hers with you or with us. And we'll post that along with the slide set. She's also made the slide set available as well.
I do have it, and I'm happy to send that.
That'd be very helpful. Good question. Well, what I'd like to do now is move on to another section of our event today, introduce my friend Patrick Eakes. And Patrick is our Zone 33 Rotary Coordinator. That is a zone-wide position that spans from Pennsylvania to the South Carolina-Georgia border. He's from the Greensboro, North Carolina area, past governor of that district, 7690. He's also past president of the U.S.-Canada Golfing Fellowship of Rotarians, expanding his Rotary reach literally across North America. He's a recipient of 2 high-level awards in Rotary, the Distinguished Service Award and Rotary's highest award, the Service Above Self Award. He and his wife, Kristen, have 2 children. Both of those have been active in Rotary projects. So please welcome my friend Patrick Eakes to work with you on your club plan.
Thank you so much, Terry. And on behalf of everybody here, I will thank Sandy for not making me sing. It would have been embarrassing to have that mute button dropped on me so quickly. So it's good to be back with you all. I saw some of you last week when we talked about intentional strategies, and we're going to incorporate that material again this week. There we go. So I know that previously your clubs worked on your membership growth plans for 2020-21. And I want to spend some time today with you all, not so much in a lecture mode, but in the opportunity for us to talk about how you can polish those or maybe further complete them, round them out, adjust them based on the intentional membership strategies that we talked about last week. So there are 4 key areas, and hopefully you reviewed those intentional strategies. They're broken up into 4 key areas that very conveniently match your growth plan areas. The first of those is prospect identification. So I would love to hear from one or more of you about exactly what you're going to do to generate names as prospects for your clubs. So, for instance, we talked about 3 of those intentional membership strategies that can help you develop a target list. One of those is a who do you know exercise that I talked about a good bit last week. Certainly some of you have filled out this first section of your growth plan on how you plan to generate these leads, because otherwise that great Discover Rotary Hour that we just saw a sample of doesn't work if we don't have prospects there. So who has some concrete ideas about how you can generate names to invite?
Patrick, this is Jane Dyer with Greenville Rotary.
Yes.
I was lucky to be the membership chair a year and a half ago. And so we started calling through everyone who was on our potential member list, everybody that had been a guest, in like the 2 years prior, and just called them up and invited them to a specific Discover Rotary. And we used the CRM module that's in DACDB to track these people and follow up with them. And I think we had great success from that. And we also had an intentional diversity breakfast, from which we ended up with about, of course, we're a big club, so we ended up with about 9 new members from that. So we plan to start calling September the 1st, everybody that we have on our potential member list, and calling, Zooming, texting, whatever it takes to get in touch with them to invite them to Terry's Great Discover Rotary.
Yeah, these days the way we reach out are a little bit different, right? You might even try carrier pigeon with a note, but that's great. So you have a developed list that you maintain, which is fabulous. And I know that you're always adding to that list, and that some of the folks on that list are also becoming Rotarians. So that's great. And you went ahead and touched on our next section, which is attracting members as well. Any other plans that you all have made to develop that prospect list?
Jane made a good point in that an event such as a diversity breakfast, where we basically identified people that some of us didn't even know. The key success factor in something like that is the sign-in sheet. You want to capture people's names, email addresses, and of course, mobile phone numbers. And then Jane herself followed up that list, made those calls, invited those people then to Discover Rotary. We had a huge conversion rate out of that event. One of our clubs that I was an AG of years past, they made it a practice in their smaller community in Greenville County. They made it a practice of inviting local business owners as their speakers. Now they have 48 meetings a year, so that's room for a lot of speakers. And then they pursued those speakers as members. They grew that club almost 50% in the course of 1 year with simply that strategy. Invite somebody to speak to the club, follow up with them, invite them to come back to a meeting or two, and invite them to join.
Hi.
Okay. Renee, go ahead.
Yeah. In better days, we try to have a quarterly after hours, a Rotary after hours at a venue in Newberry. And we encourage our members to bring friends and, potential members. And we do a little short, very short thing about who we are and what we do. So we've gotten a few members that way, just so they can see our faces not at a meeting.
Right. So great. So we're bumping right into where I wanted to go, which was the actual attraction to those members. And Renee, when you have those events, as Terry just mentioned, I hope that you are capturing the prospect's name, the contact information, so that you have that, you're developing that list.
Definitely.
Other ideas on the attraction of members. We've obviously just had a superb demonstration of what a Discover Rotary event can look like. And I think one of the keys there is that it is a professional presentation. We are professionals, we're business leaders, we're community leaders, and we want our prospects to know that we're a professional organization, and it will help sell, or I should say, we don't particularly have to sell what we're doing, but that certainly reveals and demonstrates that we're a professional organization. What other ideas do you all have, or plans do you have, I should say, for attraction of members?
So this is Travis from the Pleasantburg Club. Since we're so virtual and we've been really working to step up the quality of our speakers, getting people who we would never have speak before. Like last week, we had 2 journalists from USA Today who talked about uncovering the scandal with USA Gymnastics. And we've got somebody else who's going to talk about racism in the State Department in a couple weeks. So I've used that to let my friends and colleagues know, especially on social, and engage with them in conversations. And so it's an easy, where you may not want to ask, but you're like, that person's a really good community-minded person. They should know about this. It's a really easy soft sell to just let them know what our club's doing. And then, like I said, not just posting it, but actually engaging in conversation, whether it's on Messenger or in the post. And I have gotten more buzz from people who are like, you know, maybe I really should join, or maybe I should at least attend the meeting again and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a great way to build momentum. And when you're talking about that buzz, that's your brand, right? It's the brand of the club. It's not just a place where we do service. It's a place where, hey, we get together and we get good education, or we're entertained, or we get insights we didn't have before. But that's great. I know of clubs that are reaching out and taking advantage of this situation to have speakers they could never have just based on geography. So fantastic.
Patrick, John Kimball, I'm membership chair of the same club that Travis just referred to, Pleasantburg.
So is he telling the truth or not?
He absolutely is telling the truth.
Okay, all right, then go ahead.
But where we are at, we now have our potential member list cleaned up, ready to go. We have 20 on there. We need to grow that more, but we're up to the point of using P-mails to those 20, plus we're going back to some terminated members and we've gone through that whole list with people been in the club a long while, and they have a sense of who might be willing to come back at this point.
That's fantastic. So those terminated members kind of feed into number one, that lead generation. And there are a number of clubs that are successfully bringing members back to their clubs. And especially right now, where it's really easy for a past member to say, hey, come back and connect with your friends, attend a virtual meeting. And I have seen a number of times recently where that's been a successful strategy.
And we're about ready to roll out Discover Rotary fashioned after what we just saw. It's going to be done today or tomorrow.
Great. And the list that you talked about, that Terry talked about, that sets you up for that strategy number 5, which is the direct marketing, right? The ability to get those touches with your prospective members, be they former members or folks who would be new to Rotary. So all good ideas, and I hope those of you who maybe are still fleshing out your plans, that you're making these notes. This is an opportunity while we're together here for you to flesh out your plans. The point of talking about intentional strategies last week was that you must be intentional about membership. You must have a plan. You will not just by happenstance have success in this area. You definitely have to have a plan and to work that plan. So let's move on to number 3, onboarding new members. This is really important. We talked about this last week, that those first impressions and the development of realistic expectations, both from the club to the member and the member to the club, are critical. So somebody share with me a best practice on the onboarding, something you're going to be, that are in your plans for this year.
I'll talk again if nobody wants to.
Please.
Okay.
You've come a long way from being a prospective member 20 minutes ago at a Discover Rotary meeting. Now, go ahead, Renee.
I love what Sandy said. What you say, I can't imagine life without Rotary right now. It's such a big part of me, and I am the membership chair of our club right now. And but anyhow, we do a really in-depth orientation with our new members. And then I know it's an old program, but our club for some reason had never done it, but we kind of reincarnated a red badge program. So, because our club is getting large, at one time we had 80 members, I think we're around 77 now. And, people were coming in, new people were coming in, and they weren't being recognized as a new member, or some people thought they were guests because they were so new, and so our current membership was not embracing our new members like we thought they should. So we now have a red badge program, and they have certain tasks that they need to do before they receive their blue badge. We hope that that's going to be successful.
So you touched on two important parts of the red badge. One is that it identifies a new member. So existing members hopefully are encouraged and will take the time to say, hi, I'm Patrick. I don't think we've met yet. And then the other, which is their onboarding, the tasks that they complete to convert to a standard Rotary badge. There's value in both parts of that. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to move on to retaining members.
Let me show something here that we use. I don't think y'all can see this very good, but this is called a new member roadmap, and it describes things that a new member can do in each of the first 4 years. And it's very handy, so when a new member joins, they kind of know what their expectations are and what the opportunities are. And I'll be glad to share this, and I'll send it to Terry, I sent it to Terry, and he could post it on the Dropbox site.
Yeah, I have seen clubs use a roadmap like that. We talked about a scavenger hunt last week. I've seen clubs with a little passport book, and members, they attend a board meeting, they get their passport stamped, or they go to makeup at another club to see what that experience is like, and they get a stamp. So the idea is to get folks onboarded, in the flow, part of Rotary. So all good ideas. I hope, again, that you're taking notes, because this is a great time to flesh out your plan. So retaining members, and Travis already got us started well there. Number 8 strategy from last week, upgrading the club experience. I've seen clubs that are having, bigwig VIP international type Rotary folks come in. I've seen Hollywood script writers in meetings. The State Department that Travis mentioned, as well as the other meeting. I mean, it's a great opportunity to up your game on the meetings that you're having. What other ways can we work on that retention piece, making sure that we're bringing the value that our members want, so that Rotary is a must part of their life? And I'm not above on calling people, but I'm gonna give you a chance to volunteer first.
Patrick, I'll jump in again. John Kimball.
Yes, sir.
I think first of all, you got to know who's most at risk. We know in Rotary that those 1 to 3 years new in the club are probably the most at risk, and you just have to make sure they're engaged. You have to stay in touch. Our club right now, we've got some newer members. We know who they are that have been sort of missing, probably for good reason. There is a tool that's called a retention interview. And it's basically the same questions you would ask in an exit interview, but ask it in a retention interview.
Great item that other clubs can adopt. It's fantastic. We talked about mentorship. last week, we also talked about meaningful service projects. And one thing that I'll share that I've seen that's been extremely effective is to have a class of new members. So say who come in within a Rotary year, and to have them design and lead a new service project for your club. One, you get the bonding of that class of new members. Two, you get the thoughtfulness of a new perspective from your new members on a part of your community that you may not be getting that touch. That can really put in some new energy. Plus, you're developing some bench strength, right? You're going to have some leadership developed out of that. So I hope that sharing across your club some of the things that you're doing will give you ideas in terms of the plans that you're making for the coming year. And again, I can't stress enough how important it is to have your plans. We have to recognize that we're in a COVID world. That's changed some of what we're doing, but Discover Rotary still works. You still have opportunities for implementing those service projects. You certainly have the opportunities to do all the things we've talked about, from Discover Rotary to enhancing your programs, all those types of things. So you have your growth plan template. You know that we have talked about, and Terry talked about last week, how to develop your membership goal. That is you know what your expected attrition is. You know how many members you're likely to lose this year. So you know you have to replace them. And then you have, for the growth you want to have, that is the additional amount. If you know that you're going to lose 5 members this year, then let's plan to bring in 8. So we can offset the 5 we lose and we can grow by 3. If you're having an issue that's more in terms of people leaving the club, if that's the bigger issue, then like John mentioned, you could put more focus into that retention and trying to stop that outflow. So
Patrick,
yes.
I would certainly encourage, one of the things we need to do, especially in this COVID world where we're not meeting together, we need to keep in touch with our members. Our primary communication strategy right now should be to our members. And think about it. If our members were more sold on Rotary, wouldn't they be bringing us more prospects? So the idea of a club bulletin, even an e-bulletin, we talked about some of these strategies last week, something that goes out to the members, the first week, I'm sorry, something that goes out to the members on a regular basis, reminding them of what the club is doing. And then, of course, you just repurpose that same message to this group of potential members that hopefully you've created over time. And I'll tell you how that works. Literally last month in a Discover Rotary event, we had one person show up as a prospect, only one prospect in that Discover Rotary event, but she had been to Jane's diversity breakfast a year before. Now we send out 2 of these marketing drips a month. So she'd gotten 24 different pings from Greenville Rotary, flashing our logo, reminding her of what we're up to. And it took 24 of those before she put her hand up in the air and said, I think it's time for me to actually look at this. I rarely hear no with respect to a Rotary membership invitation, but I hear a lot of not now. And that's where that marketing drip and that messaging out to that prospect base really pays off. And it's free.
Terry, Carol Burdette here, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but I wanted to mention that I think that during COVID, one of the most important things our Rotary Club membership and leadership can do right now is let people know that they're cared about, and that we do want to check on them if they're not engaged right now, to echo what you're saying, but a special, more personal way of saying to them, we really do appreciate you and we care about you, and we don't want you to think that we're not paying attention during this COVID world.
We tend to think about the value of membership in Rotary being that professional personal development and the networking and the friendships and the community service, but that is another big piece of the value equation, is to know that you're cared about, that people are reaching out to you. So I encourage you to follow that advice. It's very wise advice.
And I know we're short on time, but this is Travis. I started recording our meetings, And I finally yesterday got the first recording up on a YouTube channel and sent it out in my weekly email. And I got members who couldn't come to meetings or who haven't to respond back. So I know they're engaged. They actually watched it. It's free and it was easy. It just took a few minutes of my time.
So we know that the engaged member is going to remain a member. That person's going to continue to be a Rotarian. The engaged member is likely to be the sponsor of a new Rotarian. So engagement is certainly the name of the game. Once we've done the attraction piece, that onboarding and the retention, parts 3 and 4 of your membership plan, they're critical. They're critical. A club that has engaged members is going to be a vibrant club. There's no question about it. Other ideas in this area? So I love what I'm hearing.
Thanks to everybody who contributed today, particularly you, Patrick, for carrying this last half of the program, and to Sandy for carrying the first half. To the Discover Rotary players, nice job. And what I wanted to point out was this stuff really does work. Many of you have seen me live in training presentations, and many of you have heard me say, I will never suggest to someone an idea that I haven't done myself or wouldn't do myself. Every one of these 10 intentional strategies has been worked in my own club and in other clubs, and this stuff works. Now, that's why we provided the recipe for Discover Rotary. And you notice Sandy just walked that right down from the top. And the reason is that, like any recipe, like baking a cake, if you substitute things or leave things out, you may not get the results you expect. But if you'll trust us, try it that way once. If you figure out a better way, great. But try it according to the recipe once and see if you don't get the result that others have, which is about a 50% conversion rate of those potential members that attended Discover Rotary become Rotarians. So here's some upcoming events on our calendar. Next week, session 4, this is I think a value proposition for your Rotary membership. This is a segment on changing club culture using material from one of the world's leading organizational change management experts. And it's in a workshop format. So you get to work on it with respect to your own club and your own situation, but you'll be able to take that out into your life, your family, your business, your community, your church, and of course, hopefully, your Rotary Club. Then finally, we have a bonus week planned, which will be a recap of all of this together with some testimonials and some experiences. You'll have time to do that between now and then. And that is a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, August 31st, Monday evening, and September 2nd, Wednesday noon. So if you like what you saw today, please forward the Zoom link. The Zoom link itself does not change from week to week. If you've got this week's Zoom link, you can forward that to someone else in your club that you wish had seen this. We'll also have this up probably within 48 hours or so on the YouTube channel, and it is a standalone playlist on the 7750 YouTube channel. So all these videos will be in the same spot, so you can easily find them and perhaps point your members to them. So thanks for joining us today.
Terry?
Yes.
Carol Burdette here. Session 4, I believe it should say August 24th and 26th.
Yes.
Monday evening and Wednesday at lunch. Just wanted to make sure no one got confused on next week.
I got to work on this math thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Look forward to seeing you next week.